This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and it gives me great pleasure to have an opportunity to chat with my very special guest today. It seems like the folks from deep in the heart of Texas have been catching my eyes and ears lately, and I guess it sort of dates back to 2023 when I interviewed the 2023 IBC winner, Matthias Latine. Well, that continues today with this group, who just happens to be on the Road to Memphis, which ironically is the title of their new album set to release very soon. Rumor has it they're going to be taking CDs with them as they travel to Memphis to compete in the 2025 International Blues Competition going on first week of January. The band is called Melon Jelly, and I have a feeling that they're going to get some new fans with their work. I really do. The band features Stephen is it Droddy?
Droddy, yes, sir.
Okay, Stephen Droddy on drums. Jason, I should have asked that earlier, right? Jason McCollum on bass and Mark Nessie Nesmith on guitars and vocals. A huge Time Signatures welcome to all three of you, the 2024 winners of the Houston Blues Challenge. Melon Jelly, how goes it, guys? Welcome.
Hey,
Thanks.
how are you?
Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
We're glad to have you. And Mark, it's good to see you again, sir.
Sir.
I'd like to begin by asking y'all one of my favorite warm-up questions, if you will. And please, each of you take a turn. I don't care who goes first. Where did you guys get your start in music in general and the blues in particular?
Oh, me? See, they're always going to volunteer me first, just so you know up front. I've played music my whole life. I was the youngest of 5 kids. My brother was playing drums. We shared a bedroom. So early on, I just kind of started banging around on his drums. There was piano in the house kind of stuff. So there was always a little bit of music lessons and all. Took band through high school and all. I actually have a minor in percussion from Lamar University. I studied drums originally. It was really discovering guys like Robert Johnson when they put out the complete recordings of Robert Johnson.
Yes.
I stumbled upon that in an old record store in the mall here, and just thought it looked interesting. Took it home, knew nothing about it, started jamming it, and that's what really turned me on to guitar. You know, I'd heard, of course, Led Zeppelin and all those guys from my brother's
Sure.
vinyl collection at the time. And somewhere coincidentally around that time was when Stevie Ray kind of burst onto the radio here in our neck of the woods. And so suddenly amidst all the, sappy 80s pop, there was Pride and Joy blasting through the speakers. And so somewhere around those same times, I discovered all that, and that just kind of took me down the rabbit hole on guitar and blues.
Right. Jason, how about you?
Well, I started playing bass when I was about 16, and I eventually met this fella, Jack Edery, who turned me on to some blues and got me into Freddie King. We were playing, just some blues standards, and I got to meet this fella, Richard Earl, also a famous soul singer from here. Played with him for a while, and then
Nice.
eventually met with these guys, and just been hitting the blues pretty hard. It's been great.
Stephen?
I started in church. I played in church from the time I was 14. And then when I graduated high school, I got into the country scene for a lot of years. And then a happen chance in a studio meeting Jack Edery, I met Jason, and we played together for a lot of years. And then that's what introduced me to the blues, would be playing with me and Jason, playing with Jack back in our early 20s.
Now, I have to ask you, when you guys first got together, how did that kind of come together? Was it just a matter of good timing, would you say? Or how did that happen?
Yeah, well, Stephen and I had kind of played together in some other lineups.
Okay.
I had a group called Barstool Ministry for a while, and he sit in and would fill in some when we needed drummers. We really, I guess, started to hook up at Blues Jam. There was a local Blues Jam.
There was the Blues Jam, and we felt like we had a chemistry. And him and I started, just him and I, we would do like almost an organic acoustic set. I would have like shakers and brushes and a really dumbed down drum kit. And
Okay.
like I said, I've known Jason for a long time, and so we started
Sure.
talking bass player, and so I made the call, and it's just kind of from there it's grown.
It worked
Very
out pretty
cool.
well.
Very cool.
He was our missing ingredient.
That's
Yeah.
Our special secret sauce.
Yeah,
There you go. Now, you guys won the 2024 Houston Blues Challenge, and you just happened to be releasing an album around the same time. Coincidence here or what?
No, we've been recording some stuff off and on. Some of it kind of bluesy, some of it kind of what we call kind of retro rock. But when we were, I guess, getting to the finals of the Houston Blues Challenge, we were like, we need to just put all this stuff together because we were playing all originals.
Okay.
And stuff that we hadn't really recorded. A couple of them were songs that are off of my CD, and then other stuff that we were playing in the challenge but hadn't put down anywhere. And we just made it a goal to get a CD of all the blues stuff together before we made it to Memphis. So I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks of recording off and on, back and forth, and sending files to my son. Benton mix this one for us, just like my CD.
Yep.
It was really I'm maybe altogether a month of time to get this together and ready to roll. So.
yeah, it was pretty intense. Like I have a studio, and I do a lot of studio work on my own time, and to get as much work as we did done in such a short amount of time was pretty incredible. And I don't know if you've heard some of the stuff yet, but I'm really happy with the body of work given the amount of time that we put into it in such a short amount of time.
We're proud of it.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I've spent considerable time listening to the album. Mark sent me an advanced digital copy to check out, which I have not shared, but I promise you, I have spent a lot of time listening to it. I'm one of these people, I like to digest it a few times or so. And one of the other things I like to do when I'm preparing for the interview is I'll throw on the music. And I happened to listen to the CD while I was writing the questions for the interview. And it just kind of helps me, I don't know, center my focus, I guess, a little bit. But I really enjoy the body of work that you guys have together. I mean, if you've talked to Mark at all, he sounds a lot like a guy that we have up here. His name is, oh, geez.
Great.
Greg Nagy. He's going to kill me for forgetting his name like that.
Boy, his
But,
CD's been tearing it up.
Oh, yeah, he's kicking butt, isn't he?
He's kicking butt with that.
Yeah. And I couldn't be happier because I've known Greg a few years, and of course he's been a big part of the Lansing music scene with the Root Doctor Band, and he's done other stuff on his own and with other people. And I absolutely love seeing people that I know, find their place and stuff start happening like that. And he's had some really good showings on the charts, and I'm tickled to death. But
Yeah.
Mark, you also have the honor of representing the Houston Blues Society in another equally important capacity this year, don't you?
Yeah, the Sinner's Prayer CD is won the best self-produced CD for the Houston Blues Society, so it's going to compete there in Memphis too. So got two chances.
Yeah, I was going to say that's got to be exciting for you on a couple of levels because you're representing yourself, and then you're going down there, as part of a band.
Yeah.
So
It's
Well,
amazing. We're doing, everything on both of those is all original. Everything we'll do in Memphis is all original.
Yeah.
That's been the magic of this group to me. I've written a lot of music my whole life, but I've only had a couple of isolated, spurts where there were people that wanted to do some of my songs with me. And
Sure.
these guys, I send them something and I'm not even sure about the song, and they'll jump in and say, hey, maybe we can make something of this. And the next thing I
There you
know,
go.
we're playing it live and recording it, so
He sets a great groundwork for a song. It's just, man, he can write very well. Sick.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it
think what
sounds
worked
to
for
me.
us too,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I think it's important that the music that we're writing, all of us can relate to. Like, most of the music
Yeah.
has something to do with our lives, like whether it's our wives, or whether it's a loss of a family member, or
Sure.
just something jokingly like "Where You're At" is really a tongue-in-cheek song. And when we recorded that, we were able to use, I don't know if you heard the voices in the background. That was my family that recorded that. And so
No
that
kidding.
puts blood, sweat, and tears all into this body of work that I think that when people hear it, they can, that oh, that's something different. And I think that's interpreted very well with Mark's writing, and our musicianship has interpreted that very well.
Well, and I think that, based on what I heard, my humble opinion is I think you guys have really good chemistry between you. The band sounded really tight, and the arrangements were good. I mean, there wasn't really anything negative that I could find in it. People accuse me of liking everything. I don't like everything, but I
Yeah.
truly enjoyed the album. There was a lot of good stuff, but in preparation for this interview, I did my homework, okay? And I was reading over your bio and I read the following, and it just kind of made me hungry. I have to be honest. So, Melon Jelly dishes out a foot stomping musical gumbo of funky grooves, blues, and retro rock served piping hot from Southeast Texas. Well, damn. Talk about whetting the musical appetite. And after hearing that in the advanced copy of your album, I have to tell you guys, you really do have some good stuff here. So, talk about this musical gumbo, if you will, because this is not an in the box blues album, is it?
Oh,
No.
not by any stretch. I mean, we do songs that are straight up blues. We do songs that are just straight up funk. And this album has, while everything is blues based, there's
Sure.
something of, Where You At that he's talking about is kind of a second line feel, a New Orleans second line, drum parade kind of thing. We got 3 Days that we've kind of fallen in love with. One of the newer songs on there that's kind of a slow, almost like a Memphis B.B. King, jazzy kind of blues. And then there's straight up kind of rocking stuff. Time is a Thief and This Life are really kind of rockers, and all points in between. That Old Habits that's on there has become kind of a set closer for us, a night closer a lot of times. And when we do it live, we've been stretching out and having a little drum solo and bass solos and stuff, and we left that and threw that in there for the CD. I think this kind of represents really a taste of what you get if you come see us live, that there's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, I love shuffle blues, but we're not gonna shuffle E all night long. It's not gonna be an E and an A kind of night. There's gonna be a whole lot of changes and a whole lot of feels. So if you're a traditional blues fan, we got something for you. But if you like something that you can shake your booty to, we got something for that too.
Something for everybody.
We hope, and it keeps us interested. It keeps us involved. I write. I don't have any kind of like formula for writing stuff. There's just some of it's I do straight up Americana stuff and country stuff, and whatever comes out at that moment, and so it keeps it interesting and fresh for us, and hopefully for
Sure.
the audience too.
Well, and I wanted to ask you guys because, you just put this album together, and I noticed, Mark, that your album was kind of along the same vein where you shifted around the genres a little bit. Are you finding that today's albums, because I like with Greg Nagy, for example, he did the same thing. It wasn't straight out of the box blues. There was a nice little mix and a blend. Are you finding that to be more of a trend these days with albums, do you think?
I don't know. I actually find it to kind of make it a little harder marketing wise. When you look at any of the sites, like when I uploaded this stuff to CD Baby to have CDs done, one of the things they do
Right.
is they tell you to what like you pick 2 or 3 genres
Define it, yeah.
that represent you, that define your music. So I can't pick. I sent the list to them, but they're like, well, I don't know. I don't feel like we fit any of these kind of things. And, so marketing wants, I don't know that it's human nature. I think normal people, just like a wide variety of stuff, but marketing and companies like to pigeonhole you into one
Get a box.
box
Yep.
that they can shove down, for advertising.
Right.
So I don't, you know, there may be sites that list this as a rock album. There may be sites that list this as a blues album. I don't know. That end of it's always a mystery to me. I don't know how you put one box around something. I've never been able to do that, and I'm not going to
Well,
start trying. I'm too old to start trying that now.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
one of the
that,
things that drives me nuts when I put a CD in my computer, what I do a lot of times is I'll capture it in my music file or music program, just so I don't have to keep dragging the CD out and whatnot. And a lot of the blues albums are titled as rock albums, and I have to go in there and change the genre because it's not a rock album, it's a blues album for pity's sake. But I wanted to ask you guys, how are you guys being received in the greater Houston area? And I'm sure that you've played some of your new music for them. Would I be correct?
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's been receptive well. I do. Mark and I kind of share the responsibility of getting us gigs in different places.
Okay.
And what I have felt like is that it's been receptive well, and we're gaining what seems to be like more following. We're not just playing in our local Southeast Texas area anymore. We're playing in East Texas. We're playing in Austin. We're playing South Texas towards that direction. You know, we're not all the way down to South Texas yet, but I'm trying and he's trying as well to try to just play as much as we can, because the three of us have a chemistry that I haven't had with anyone else, especially live. The live, I feel like when you come to a Melon Jelly show, you're not just getting some cookie cutter sound. Any song, even a cover that we do it our way, and I
Okay.
think that's the selling point for us, because everywhere we go, whether there's 50 people, 5 people, or 1,000 people, they're digging what we're doing. Jay, like we talked about earlier, Jason and I have been playing together since we were in our early 20s, and so to have that kind of rhythm section that is as solid as we don't even have to look at each other, and we know we're going to do something. He plays a certain note, and I know I know where to go, and vice versa.
A lot of organic type stuff
Yeah.
going on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has been the answer is yes. We're playing in cities that for years I've tried to get us into, and then all of a sudden, because we've released this album and people are starting to know who we are, I feel like, I mean, would I be wrong in saying that? Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels like we're gaining. People are looking up and saying, "Hey, these guys are legit. They're not just the guys that play at the local, you know, music venue that is just kind of in the corner listening to y'all. They really appreciate what we're doing, and that makes me more hungry, or more hungrier, proper word there, to do more and to invest more into the art and put good music out."
I'll tell you that in Southeast Texas, the general idea is that Houston is not very receptive to people from Beaumont, to bands from Beaumont. I can't tell you how many other area blues musicians told us, well, there's no point in even competing in the Houston Blues Challenge, so never let somebody from Beaumont win it.
Wow.
And we're just like, and that's
Okay.
kind of a general attitude about it. So well, we went, man, and people have been just incredible to us.
It's been
Kirky
great.
and everybody with the Blues Society has been great. They've reached out and involved us with a lot of things. You know, they just had us play their blues holiday bash with
Yes.
Keisha Pratt. You know, we were one of the openers. They had all the ones from the Houston Blues Challenge play. We got to be the opener right before.
Yeah.
And the crowd there was incredibly receptive about it. You know, just eating it
Nice.
up. So I can only speak from our experience with it, and I don't have anything bad to say about the Houston scene. They've been great to us. So
Yeah.
I don't know what ever caused that
Rift.
belief about it in the past. I wasn't there for that, but this has been great. So
The one thing that really shines for me is people are receptive to our originals, which I've never had in a band before, and it feels really good. It does, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with these guys. I've never felt that before, so it's there's something here, you know, at least in my opinion.
Very nice. Now, I have to ask you guys, I don't care who tells the story, where did Melon Jelly come from?
Mark,
Yeah.
I've had that name in my head for decades.
Okay.
Actually, back when I was teaching at Bushman Elementary in Dallas, there's another teacher there, Marlon Craddock, and he's on the side a gospel rapper, goes by the handle Royal. And I would sometimes go and add some guitar licks or some background vocals to some of his stuff. And I was tossing around band ideas one day with him. Said, I kind of want to use Melon Jelly. He said, oh yeah, like Sanford and Son. He was the only guy I knew that instantly got it. That on the old TV show Sanford and Son, Fred Sanford's favorite musician was Blind. I thought he was saying Melon Jelly, but he was actually saying Mellow Jelly, Blind Mellow Jelly.
Okay.
And even after I discovered that, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna keep it Melon, and we'll just use Melon Jelly. And I don't know why, it just seemed to fit, And when we were doing the logo stuff, in my head, I'd always kind of pictured the watermelon stuff. And my wife came in one day and said, I always thought of a melon as being your brain. And so, like that was that first T-shirt idea, was that brain inside of the watermelon with the headphones on, and it's just stuck. It's kind of quirky, I guess, but most people do a little double take when they ask our name and we say Melon Jelly, and they're, huh?
Yeah.
Well, listen, as you can tell, I wear band shirts occasionally. I wore Bob Corritore for an interview earlier today. I'll have to order not only a copy of the CD signed so I can put you on the wall here, but I'll have to also get a shirt so I can wear it and rep my guys down there. But
let me know
On the Road to Memphis is the album. Any favorite tracks on there, guys?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think it depends on what mood I'm in.
Okay.
For me, the one that was that sounds the most refined to me is 3 Days. That's the one we spent the least amount of time on as far as recording, and it's one of the last ones that Mark's written. But when I listen to 3 Days, it has that old sound that you strive to get with a three-piece band, and we accomplished that, I think, very well with that song. I really like that song. That's probably my favorite one of the album is 3 Days.
Folks seem to enjoy that song as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got too many favorites. One of the biggest compliments that my son Benton gave me was when I would send him tracks, and he and my stepson are in Tuscaloosa. They do sound with Eat My Beats studio, and he does the studio recording stuff on the side. And I'd send him a track, say, hey, this one's coming your way, and I'd send him a rough MP3, and he'd say every time he'd send me back, man, I think this is my new favorite. And him and Ethan were sitting there saying, we didn't know, like every time you sent a song, I felt like you like one up the last song, or that they couldn't decide which one was their favorite. I think the last one they settled on was This Life. Before that, I think it was Time Is a Thief. I love all the vocal stuff back and forth with Time is a Thief, all the background vocals and everything. And I really love Old Habits, and we look forward to playing that live every time. I love that there's showcases of drums and bass on there that you don't often hear. This is different than probably a lot of blues bands that you see, in that it's not like one guy with a couple of guys just backing them. Everything is really a band, and it's a whole band identity kind of thing.
He lets us have some shine sometimes,
Oh yeah, just a little bit, right?
I think if you want to talk about Old Habits for me is the most challenging to play. Has been the most challenging to play because of the solo. I don't consider myself a solo drummer. Like, I always have tried to stay in the pocket and just play to support the guys I'm with.
Sure.
And so that solo is almost a point of anxiety for me when it comes up, because I cannot never get it the same way every night. Every night it's different. Every night it kind of organically changes.
That's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell.
But for me, being a session musician that plays pretty strict tracks when you play, to have that solo on the album is pretty cool. At the same time, when I hear it, I'm like, oh man, I could have done that differently. But live, when we play it live, it's not the same way as on the CD, which is kind of cool all within itself.
Well, but I don't think that I don't think it's supposed to be the same way when you do it live. Even Joe Bonamassa talked about his solo spots when he was, when he does them during his concerts. They're not the same. I don't think they're supposed to be the same, are they?
No, they're not.
Not to us.
Not to us. I just feel like it causes. I would like to try to be like be on point every time I do that solo. And sometimes I feel like I'm not. I'm my worst critic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Jason will tell you the same thing. He wasn't necessarily a step out solo bassist kind of thing. And whatever anybody thinks, I don't consider myself like lead guitarist kind of thing. I think of a song and getting a song across. And you know, like I've probably soloed more with these guys than I ever have in any band. I'm normally like take a pass and go back to the song kind of thing. And they've really kind of pushed me to do more. And I think that we've kind of pushed each other to get out of a little bit of comfort zones that way and kind of stretch more as players in that way together.
Grown a lot as a musician since I've joined you guys, and I know you guys as well have gotten just amazing. So
this is really the first group I've played with in a long time where if I stop playing rhythm and take a solo, that I don't have this fear in my head that the whole song's going to fall apart.
Train keeps rolling,
Yeah.
I was always like the guy that actually knew the song and kept everything together. And
Right.
if I step away from that too long, then it might be a train wreck when I come back. And I don't have that. You know, whatever little tangent one of us decides to go off on, we can find it and follow each other. You know, which is just love. I love that.
Now,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to
You got the
say, I
red
mean,
hat.
you see that I got some vinyl here to my left. I have to ask, are we going to see vinyl in this album?
I think that's a possibility. I think it's a possibility, but I've been wanting us to wait until we get through Memphis before we even venture that far.
Sure.
We'd love to. I love
think
that.
it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool too. It's been on the back of my head. I've talked about it. It's not something that I have pushed or any of the other guys have pushed it at all because it's kind of.
I have money.
And we just don't get the body of work complete. He's got.
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm real conscious about, and that we're all real conscious about, and that my son Ben is that this is very much a collection of songs that we hope is going to be heard together. Like in the old days when you buy a CD or you buy a vinyl and you devour every song in order. You know, I always think of like Pink Floyd and all the little segues between songs. So we have little, I don't know that it's real common in like blues music, but there's little segues between songs. There's little sound effects and little parts where there's an isolated music moment that's kind of bridging the gap between songs. And we did the same thing on my solo CD. And that is something that I think the streaming world has kind of killed. You know, it used to be, man, I could lay around with my brother's vinyls just devouring album covers that have lyrics on them and information about bands and photos and would just give you an avenue to learning more about the music and about the artist. Streaming is, you don't see that, you know. So right. I hope that people, when they get this CD, actually listen to the CD, and that would be a wonderful thing on vinyl. That, you know, it's not as easy to pick up your needle and skip around on an album.
Right.
People that do vinyl tend to listen to albums.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a great thing.
I also think that when we did this album, we took into consideration that we wanted, when someone put the CD or anything, when they listened to it, that they listened to all 11 songs. And it's almost that was something that was really important to me, that no two songs sounded alike. And so that was one of the thought processes on my side of it, especially from the drum part, is that I tried to not play exactly the same way on each song. I tried to do something different every time, and the same goes for Jason and for Mark. Right. And that was something that that's why it took us a little longer from the stuff that we've released in the past to get this body of work, is because we hadn't really etched out what we were going to do on the album. And then when we won the Blues Challenge, it was like, okay, well, crap, we got to do this now. And so it really was very focused on trying to create a body of work that if you put it in your car or you download the album, that you listen to it from start to finish. Is everybody going to do that? Probably not, but
right.
We did it to the point, like when I listened to the album that we have downloaded on our phones from the final mixes, I started at the very beginning and I just let it play. and I don't get bored with it. And I have a very short attention span. And if I can listen to the album, then I feel like we have something. When I work with other artists in producing and recording their album, I can only take about this much sometimes of the whole body of work because it's all written very similar, and it's maybe the same chord structure or the verbiage patterns is similar. And so to have such a diverse album from three guys is pretty awesome and incredible. I play with a lot of other artists with what I do, and I'll tell them after every show, man, I would have much rather be playing with you guys because there's such a chemistry and we don't have a lot of tension. If we have something that we're discussing or we may not have the same opinion, we talk it out. There's no bitter attitudes or conflict. It's just it's a grown up world that we're in, and to have that kind of chemistry when you deal with so many other people that have drama in this business, it's pretty cool.
We're pretty stable and we love what we do, and we hope people will love what we do as well. We really love what we do, and we have a great time doing it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to be. I just turned 40. And it's almost like, man, how in the heck are we doing this at 40 years old? And we're
Listen
doing
to that young pup over there at 40.
Stuff that we dream. I've been dreaming about having this kind of chemistry with a group of guys since I can remember. And all of a sudden it's all coming together and people are appreciating our music. Like what you've said, you love what you've heard so far. Yeah. And that just makes me want to do more. Like I want to go record tomorrow the next album. I know we can't do that, but hearing the feedback, it makes me want to do it more.
Get that fire in our bellies,
Yeah. Well, the thing that I like about new music, for me especially, is I generally don't fall in love with something on the first play. It might take me 3, 4, 5 plays before I really go, wow, that's a really cool track. I love that. And with your stuff, I picked 3 or 4 of them right off the get, right out of the first play through that I went, all right, I can listen to this, I can enjoy this. And I find that, for the albums that do catch my attention like that's important to me. But I wanted to ask you guys, is anybody in this group been to Memphis previously?
Yeah.
To compete or to visit?
Yeah, to compete.
Oh, no, never.
Okay. So there's got to be some butterflies, is there? Yeah, you guys nervous at all? Are you excited?
I'm the worry wart of the bunch.
Especially if his wife Haley isn't around.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like I do this. I play. I teach. Music is my life, and I've never been as nervous as I am. Like when we played in Houston for Keisha Pratt. Like I was a ball of nerves just for the simple fact that we have so much riding on this, and we put so much of our heart and soul into this body of work that I'm not gonna lie. Every day I wake up just trying to I talk to these guys about like, man, I'm a ball of nerves, and they're like, oh man, we got it. They're like calming me down, but I'm the worry wart of the bunch.
And he's there before he starts playing. Once there's a note on stage, he's fine.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Once I hit on the stage,
you watch him before we get on. He's jittery.
Yeah, I get jittery. It's weird. I never had that. I've played all over the country with many different artists, and never had that nervousness as I do now with this body of work. And I think because we've put so much into it, that you want everybody to like what you're doing.
You would never know he's a ball of nerves by his playing, though, at all. He's always
Well, and Stephen, you're a lot like me, okay? With my podcast, I'm going into my 4th season, and I want people to like what I'm doing. I mean, it's not just the fact that I'm, preserving the history of the blues. It's I'm trying to capture these stories, and I'm trying to let these, people like you shine and come out and share your stories with me. And so I guess the only thing I could say to you, because I don't compete in Memphis, is try to just have a good time and enjoy the ride, I guess.
Oh, we are.
We're
excited. I'm more excited than nervous. I had a spell, I guess about 20 years ago now, where my left arm was so damaged and shattered, I was never supposed to be able to play again. Once I got to where I could play an instrument again, I really don't care what I'm playing as long as I'm playing. So I'm just happy to be able to do it as long as I can do it. It's a little nervous just in terms of how many people will be there and how many acts, and they're coming from around the world. But at the same time, and I'm just super jazzed to be part of it and to get to see some of that stuff, and it'll be cool to see how we stack up against people from other places, So but we feel pretty good about our chances. We're going to try to give them a run for their money.
The best we can,
Well, bottom line, if you win it, you got to come back on here and talk about it. That's all I got to say. You owe me a visit. But time for y'all to shine for a minute.
Best.
You bet. Time for y'all to shine for a moment. Where can folks go to read more about Melon Jelly, maybe buy some merch, and of course, to buy that new album? And let me say, before I turn you loose on this, it takes somewhere between, I think it's 1,500 downloads or 2,000 downloads to equate to the purchase of one CD. So do me a favor, if you're listening or watching, buy the CD, buy the download. Don't just go stream it, because when you buy the CD or the download, you're helping these guys get out there and get on the road. And we want to see them continue to do great things as Melon Jelly. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. I've done my pitch. Go ahead, guys. Tell me all about it.
Well, the easiest spot is melonjellyband.com. That's our website. It has links to pretty much everything else. There's photos and videos. We've got a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. But everything links from melonjellyband.com. We do have 3 singles out right now that are on pretty much anywhere you like to listen to music, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. And they're also available to download on our website. So that's kind of the big source of all information, I guess.
Yeah, that's where the hub is at. And then, each one of us have our own personal Facebooks. So if you can't remember, I don't know why you can't remember a name like Melon Jelly, but if you can, you can look up one of us guys, and everything goes and ties into Melon Jelly. All of us have our links there, so it's not hard to find us.
MelonJellyBand.com.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
All right. And what I'll do is I'll try to get all 3 of you added. I already got Mark, but I'll try to get you, Jason, and you, Steven, added on Facebook. And then I can do links on the information for this episode. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic.
Well, Melon Jelly, Steven, Jason, Mark, thank you all for taking some time to talk with me today. I wish you incredible success in Memphis. Knock 'em dead, guys.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to the gentlemen of Melon Jelly, Stephen Droddy, Jason McCollum, and Mark Nessie Nesmith, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you that keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.